Alright, so another thing about autism, I'm gonna give examples. I think I'm really good at explaining things with examples, otherwise I ramble. One is that interaction. I think I was saying that before, interaction is very difficult for me. It's, I take things either really, really literally, or there's a lot of misunderstandings and stuff. There's been a lot of times that I have gotten offended because people tell jokes and I take it very literal, or there's times that people make fun of me and I didn't even pick it up. Like, it could be that someone says, I don't even know. It could be like someone says, oh, you look like a stick. And I will sit there for 5 minutes like, what? And I say that because when I was younger, I was kind of like skinny and stuff. I mean, I'm still petite. Like, people would make jokes about it sometimes. Or people would be like, oh, you don't eat. And I'd be like, actually, I ate like an hour ago. And like, I wouldn't cue into the fact that they're saying something like negative. That's why a lot of things affect me, I think, 10 times more. Because there's times that people explain things and I'll just go into like, kind of like, I wouldn't say mood, but kind of like a mid-sadness for a second. Because then I'll actually understand what people meant in the past. Even to this day, that I'll go back and I'll just be saying someone explains something that has nothing to do with the actual situation. Or I tell them, they explain it to me and I'm just like, oh. I'm still sad about things in elementary school. Or there's times that people have liked me and I just did not completely pick up on it. I didn't understand that there's these weird rules that apply in society when it comes to doing things. Like, did you know that like if the opposite gender asks you out for dinner, that's a date? Like, I don't know why that didn't cue into me. That didn't cue into me at all. I have went on like a fair amount of dates, but I would say there's been times that I have definitely went on dates and people are like, hey yo, this is a nice date. And I'm like, what you mean a date? I don't remember this being a date. Like, I don't remember, saying that this was a date. And sometimes I'll even say that because I'm like, what? And then people give me the most strange look because it's just like, it doesn't cue in. There's been so many things that I need to like break down to understand. I think I got an award for this like 3 times at school and like an MIT camp and whatever. The award for asking the most questions because I would just need to understand the breakdown of everything. Because if I don't, I'm not going to understand at all. Sometimes I just need to know. And when I mean the breakdown of everything, I remember someone did something and they didn't say why, but they're just like, this is because it is what it is. And I was like, I sat there and I was like, well, now I'll never exactly know what I did wrong. And then it's just like, I'm going to do it again now. Like, not in like a toxic way. It's just like I need people to understand that if I don't have a reason, it's going to happen again. Because it's not a lack of respect. It's not a lack of caring about the person. It's not a lack. It's just they don't explain it. So I'm probably either gonna not do it completely or anything related to it because I don't want to like upset that person, or I'm going to continue doing it in another format or way. I'm gonna try to find a loophole around specifically what they told me not to do because they didn't explain why, so I don't understand the overcompassing of why not to do it, if that makes sense. If someone's like, hey, you gotta wear a rain jacket outside, and they don't explain, right, I'm gonna wear something else, or maybe I'll put a blanket over my head as I walk outside. I don't know, I'll just do something that's like completely abnormal. Or I just won't go outside when it's raining because it will just not cue into me why. And I know it sounds kind of like, I don't want to say dumb, but kind of ditzy, but if someone's like, hey, you have to wear a raincoat because it's cold, you'll get sick if it rains and it gets on you and you'll be soaked and yada yada yada, then I'll be like, okay, even as an adult, it helps when people explain things. Oh yeah, no, this is why, da 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 da. The next thing would be, I think this would be example 2, would be taking every single detail. Now, I think this is a beautiful thing. I love looking at every single detail of things, but it also hinders me a bit. Like, I'll notice anytime I go to someone's house, if there's a frame that's crooked, I'll stare at it for a minute. And if I feel comfortable enough at that person's house, I'll be like, hey, yeah, excuse me in this conversation. I'll be back. I'll walk up there. I'll fix it. I'll probably sit there for a good couple minutes adjusting this photo so it's perfectly balanced. Like, perfectly balanced. And then I'll sit down. I'll feel comfortable. I notice every single little detail. If you guys have known me outside of the YouTube channel, you guys know I did art. I really much like to be very detail oriented in my art as well. It makes it harder for me to look at the bigger picture of things because if you want to get in another context than visually, when it comes to planning, I look at every single detail as well. And if one detail's off, it like throws me completely off. Because, for example, let's say if I'm planning to travel, oh my gosh, you should have seen me. I had this document. I think me and the person was gonna travel. Like, me and my partner travel somewhere. And I sent him like, I think it was like a 10-page document of plans. I was like, okay, where we're gonna stay, what we're gonna do, what we're gonna eat, what snacks to bring, what time we're gonna travel there, what time we're gonna go home, what time we're gonna go to sleep so we can make it to the next things, like what we're gonna wear. Like, it was just crazy. Like, I even was like writing down specifically things like bring 4 pairs of socks. Like, I was like really detailed in it. I was like, hey, we're gonna spend this much money at this restaurant. Like, I just really went into it. It's crazy how deep I went into planning this thing. I mean, it was literally a 3 days. We were there for 3 days and I planned it. Like, we were moving there for like, I don't know, a week or something. Every single detail. And I was like neatly packed things, and I even did the math to see how much clothes I could fit into my into my suitcase. It's like every single detail really matters to me. Even when planning, I know that like if I don't write very detailed notes, I'm going to either forget it or it's just going to be stress me out when it gets to that situation. So I need to like plan every single detail, and I need things to be by every single detail. Into another topic, right? When it comes to noticing details, I guess it's part of being like hypersensitive. I think hypersensitivity can do with more like feeling things, but it has to do with all the senses in my mind. Usually people connect it to like feeling and stuff. It's interesting. It's either like I don't feel anything at all, or I feel everything. And when I mean that, I mean there's times that I will stare at my device on full brightness because I cannot see, because I'm in hypo. And this is clear. Let me actually give you definitions. Hypersensitive, just take it as everything's too much. Hypo is like everything's too little. Alright, so yeah, the light, I'll turn it all the way up because I'm like, I cannot see, right? Or better example, I think this is how I actually know what kind of phase I'm in. My music, right? I'll have my earphones on. The noise canceling. There's days that I turn up my volume and I'm like, the song's too quiet, and I'm like continuously trying to turn it up. And my phone's like, yeah, that's the highest volume it hits, you know? Chill out. And there's days that my music will be in the middle, and I'll turn it down because I'm like, this is way too loud. And I would say when I'm trying to turn it up past its volume capacity, that's when me in hypo. And when I'm in hypersensitivity, I try to turn it down because I'm like, it's too loud. When it comes to another example, there's days that I take a shower and I'm putting the heat all the way up, like all the way up. And then there's days that I kind of put it to like a really room temperature, like a really room temperature water, because there's days that I'm sitting there like, the water's not hot enough, like I'm trying to boil, like I don't know. And then there's days that's like I sit there and it's too hot, it's like completely burning, like I'm just like, nah, I'm good. And I mean, like, for a second, like I'll put my finger in there and I'm like, nah, I gotta turn this down. So that's like an example of hyper and hypo. And I feel like a lot of people with autism, regardless of the level 1, 2, and 3, definitely deal with hypo and hyper. If I had to say which one I deal with the most, I would say hypersensitivity, but I feel like I get, like if I had to sit there, I would say 60% hypersensitivity, 40% hypo. It really depends. And for anyone that's like my girlies out there, definitely during BDSMing, you know, your period, your monthly, hypo and hypersensitivity, definitely, it's a troll. It's a troll. Like it goes like this, up and down and up. You either hypo or hyper. Like it's crazy. I definitely want to do a video on that too, of just like how autism, how neurodiversity affects, you know, the monthly for a woman. It's insane. So that's like an example of hyper and hypo. And I would say even with food, there's days that I'm trying to like dash salts and flavors and all types of things on things, and I'm like, there's not enough flavor, and I'm like walking in the kitchen and putting more cheese, putting more ketchup, putting more hot sauce. I'm like over here eating hot peppers out of the jar because I'm like, I really need like this, I don't know, a sensation of some type. It's really weird. And then there's days that I'm like, I want a plain waffle. You should see the face of like my partner every time I switch up. They'll be so confused because it's like I'm either like I make some like super flavorful, or I'm like really getting it in, or I'm putting all types of like foods together, and I'm just like, I'm putting a smoothie, I'm putting everything in it. And then there's days that I'm just like, I just want a vanilla shake. Simple, nothing, no sprinkles, no whipped cream, no cherry, just so simple. That's all. And I think there's also like, I get motion sickness too. So I think even with motion, which I think is like a sense that we don't talk about a lot, with motion, I definitely feel it as well. There's times that I'm like, I love being on like Ferris wheels and all types of things, to going on drives, driving fast, doing all types of things. And then there's days that I just cannot handle it, right? I literally like, I don't know, get up and I'm like, well, no, I'm laying back down. I'm done. I'm done. Another thing about autism that I experience would be word vomiting. I think it's like when my mouth is either moving faster than the words in my brain, or they're moving slower than how I want to talk. I don't really know. I should probably look more into that. It's something I experienced for a while, so I think if you guys ever watch my videos, you guys realize I do a lot of like, I swallow, and it's usually me trying to like slow down so my brain says exactly what it's gonna say, and then I can say what I'm gonna say. You see, it works better when I do it. Like if I swallow and then talk, it's a little thing I do. I try not to do it too much, but it really helps. But when I'm trying not to be awkward, like, and I just try to like talk, like it just gets into a stream and I get like this traffic and it gets real bundled. So word vomiting is something I go through. Oh gosh, it's chaotic in my mind. It doesn't stop. I would say it's worse when I burn out. I feel like I stutter more. I feel like my words are more slurred. I feel like my pronunciation's worse. And that could be probably a mixture of me also having dyslexia, because I have dyslexia as well, and autism. So that is a nice little salad of things that happen. Actually, going back into like me talking about the senses and foods, this is really interesting. So there's this thing called food aversion, and I just thought I was a picky eater. But food aversion is, I wouldn't call it, a lot of people consider it an eating disorder. I don't know. I'm sure that there's different volumes of it. I'm sure there's a spectrum to that too. But the type I experience is more of I will see food in the fridge, and if it's a food that has a different texture I don't like, or has a certain smell, or if it's anything's wrong with it, if it's like, I don't know, if it's food's made and it has a different texture than it usually does, or anything, if it looks weird, I won't eat it. I'll starve. It's bad. I probably need to work on that. Food. If I'm at a restaurant, I always feel bad, especially if someone pays for something, because they'll eat it, and then if it's like one thing off, I mean like one thing, if it smells weird, if there's a taste that's a little off, the texture don't hit, I can't eat it. I'll try and I'll force myself, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, I like it, but in the back of my head I'm just like, please never get this for me again. Because it's like, ugh. I think that even happens with me and my dopamine foods, because if you guys are familiar with that term, just to clarify, dopamine foods is a food that you eat to get dopamine. Probably talk about that in a minute. I'll eat dopamine foods, and then the minute that dopamine's gone, I'll stop eating it, and I won't look at it for months. And I feel bad because the food aversion slips in, and I don't know what happens, is I'll be like disgusted completely by it. I was eating pudding, and I usually like pudding, and I think there was this one time it became my dopamine food, and I started eating it, and I was eating it a lot, and then I think like a week after, I was like, I never want to see pudding again, and I felt bad because like people were buying me pudding because they're like, you really like pudding, and I couldn't. I was like, if I see another pudding cup, I'm gonna throw up. I don't want this. Like, I can't. If I learn too much about a food, I can't eat it either. I can't. Like, I don't want to go too much in detail, but I had this one person in my life that wanted to explain every single thing. Did you know that Coca-Cola? Did you know that Cheetos do this to you? Did you know that eggs are bad for you? I'm just like, listen, let me eat, because if you tell me this, I won't eat anything. And I'll starve, and then I'll be sad. And I'll be dysregulated, and then the whole world will fall apart. Sugars have too many fruits, or meat is actually not real anymore, or just like things like that. Oh yeah, the lettuce is GMO now. It's like, there's just so many things that like I can't watch the news because they say too much about food. I'm not eating it until I forget. Other mannerisms is that like when walking, I feel like, I don't know what's the thing with balance specifically, but I can be very clumsy and stuff. Like, I think that's one of the symptoms that's more noticeable in women is actually clumsiness. I think that I definitely be clumsy. like to speak on some of the things to do with motion and balance. I think that's one of the reasons why I like avoided wearing high heels, or because listen, I be in shoes tripping, but I just be clumsy. I be bumping into things. I be really trying to avoid things though. So I be bumping into things or awkwardly avoiding things. I obviously have learned and studied body language, but there be days that I be mad clumsy. I think I went shopping today actually before I filmed this video. I was at Shaw's and I think I was putting something away. It was like a snack or something. In the process of putting it away, literally there's nothing in my hand, there's no one in my way. It should have been simple. I tried to put it on the shelf and I just like, I don't know how, but I happened to drop it before it hits the shelf. And I was in the store like, catches it and be like, it was like, I don't even know how that happened, but it did. Well, the amount of times in my house that I have broken glass, I think there's like, I don't know, let me think, 2 bowls and like 5 glasses. It's like 8 things have been broken in this house. I feel like when I'm not clumsy, I'm masking. I'd be clumsy. I don't want to say all people with autism are clumsy, but I'd be clumsy, and I know that's part of it. Alright, next topic, which would be burnouts. I would say I experienced them mainly through like high school and mainly through college and stuff. And I think I experienced them mainly through that time because I had to do more schoolwork. The load for those were much more heavier. I was a global business and finance major. It was very heavy on me. And in high school, my major was visual arts because I went to a special arts school where they had majors of like visual arts, music, fashion, film. I think I majored in visual arts, and that was like a little more of a load. Even though I love art, it was definitely a load because I did it to free myself and communicate, and like when you go into a school and they're telling you what to do with it, you're just like, what? So it was more stressful, especially because now you're getting graded and critiqued on it. And then with business arts, as I said, I think you guys have heard me say this in multiple videos, is I'm the type of person to do more work and walk out. And apparently when you're in like college, you get deducted points, and that's seen as disrespect. So you can't do that. So it was very stressful for me. I think there's a point where it got stressful to the point of my like eye twitching. It was insane. It was not a good month. It was an interesting month of my eye twitching. I don't even know how to explain that. It was finals week, I believe, too. From my experience, if you guys want to know what a burnout is like, to me it feels like all my brain cells are burning all at once. Like there's a fire in my brain and my brain cells are like burning. Now there's times, I think in the beginning when it first happened, I think over time, like when I was younger, it came out more as like maybe like people seeing it as more anger or outbursts, inappropriate outbursts, right? Because during burnouts, it's like, it's so freaky to the person, especially like, I'm thinking about when I was in younger age. When I'm in younger age and stuff, it's like you obviously don't know. One, I didn't know I had autism, and 2, it's like you don't know what's going on. So my burnouts when I was younger was more of like a tantrum. I would have these tantrums, like I would just, because my brain would just feel like it's on fire, and it's like everything would throw me off. It's too bright, it's too hot, I'll just lose my mind, right? It would just be a crazy outburst of a burnout and so on. And it's really scary, personally. It's not fun. That's why I think I do have a problem when people romanticize autism. It's not just being quirky or lacking eye contact or being a little socially awkward. It's all that I have mentioned. It's the possibility of having ear and stomach issues. The word vomit is the stemming that can may be harmful. It's the having a hard time building relationships that are healthy because it's hard for you to communicate. So it's very hard for you to build relationships, friendships, relationships that are romantic. And yes, even family ships, it's hard to build family ships. So I feel like people should really stop romanticizing autism. And the worst part of it is the burnouts. For me, the outbursts and the burnouts. There has been people I won't say physically hurt, but there's been people that I have hurt verbally during my burnout. There's been times that it's just like my brain's on fire, or my whole body hurts, or it's just I'm in this like horrible emotion. I'm so tired, or I'm so dead, like I'm just done. Because after it's like a fire, it's like everything burns and then everything's ash. In a sense of that, it's like it can turn into me having a migraine, or me like just feeling like I'm losing my mind. It can feel like, I don't know, it's not good for me personally. It's not good. It's never been a good burnout. As a time, I have learned slowly over time in the last year how to make them smaller, how to not outburst with them. Because now I just kind of suffer in silence. I suffer in silence, or I slow them down. And now it's more of, instead of me feeling like my brain's on fire and the world's ending, it's more of, I need to sleep. I think there's been times I have burned out for a month, and I just didn't talk to anyone for a month, bad, and I was tired every day, and my body hurt every day, and I had headaches every day. I didn't feel like eating. I was just like not good. Everything was too bright, everything was too loud, everything was too much for me. I think I even remember telling like a therapist this. I call it the blank. There's been times where it's so bad that I just turn blank. Like blank. Like I wouldn't even call it artist block, it's just blank. Like I just feel like all my emotions drained. It's blank. It's such a burnout where I don't even have pain left. What results in burning out is obviously masking too much, or imposter syndrome, which is when everybody thinks you're something else and you think you're not that person, like you try to downplay who you are. From doing too much that I know I can't do. If I'm trying to clean my whole entire house, I'm gonna be honest, I have cleaned my whole entire house in a day. I have done it in a few hours too. But I would say there's some times that it takes me like a week. This is because my house got multiple rooms in it, I ain't gonna lie. But if I try to force it, I'm like, I know I can do this like a normal person. I cleaned it like this a week ago. I can do this. It definitely made me burn out, and I probably had really bad burnouts because I had a lot of people who had high expectations for me, and because of that, it led me to believe that I was more, I won't say more than I am, but put myself in this high pedestal was almost where I would push myself to the point of breakage. It's the combination of not just me feeling the pain or me freaking out over something small or anything. It's also me understanding I'm gonna lose things after this. After my burnout, it's a combination of me forgetting how to tie my shoes and how to make dinners, or forgetting how to do things that are really important to me. The worse the burnout, the more I forget. As I said, it feels like your neurons are burning. They probably are burning. That's why I'm forgetting all these things. So it's like me feeling, no, I can't be at the full capacity people want me to be, type of burnout. And the pain of me trying to hold on to these things. And it's just, I would say like, yeah, that's the definition of burnout. There's a lot that people go through with autism. Again, obviously if someone's like being like, I don't know, toxic and abusive, don't take that. But I'm saying that if it seems like they're losing their mind about it, if it's something like, it seems like they're just losing their mind about this small thing, it's probably because it's the buildup. I feel like I have to go through a lot every day. Again, I don't hold it over anyone. I don't ask for anyone's pity. I try to be very independent. I feel like there's a lot I go through. If it's me washing the dishes and I'm hypersensitive, I know I have to get them done with. If it's me feeling like I'm about to burn out and I know that, I have these events that I promise people to go to. If it's like there's so much that it definitely takes away on me. I have to live as a human. If I have like scheduling I have to take care of, if I have to go to an appointment that I know I can't reschedule, just because I know that I'm at the brink of masking and stuff, it's like, it's not simple as me being like, hey doctor, I can't go because I'm losing my damn mind. I still have to go. There's been days that I literally burn out, gather myself back together, and then go. And I'm actually a superstar. I don't know. Sometimes after my burnouts, I still be flexing like I'm normal. It's crazy. At the end of the day, that is what autism is. I wouldn't say it's a burnout. I'm saying everything I have said and much more. It is a beautiful thing. It's a struggle. It's not to be romanticized. No, not everyone has it. It's not demonic. It doesn't make you a Sullivan. It doesn't make you less than anyone else. It doesn't make you less, but it makes you different, which is makes you beautiful. Thank you for watching so much. I know this was a very long video, but I had so much to talk about. And there's so much more I could talk about. But again, I wanted to speak on this because Autism Awareness Month. I never told you guys what it was. Just like a last point is just, I'm still human. My diagnosis does not define me. If you have autism, you're beautiful. If you don't have autism, you're beautiful. If you're neurodivergent, you're beautiful. If you're not neurodivergent, well, no, you can be neurodiverse. Okay, if you are a different neurodiversity, etc., you're beautiful. If you have mental health and you're struggling, just know you're still beautiful. Even if it's a physical disability, if it's a mental disability, if it's an emotional disability, a disorder, anything, you're beautiful. Happy Autism Awareness Month. Yeah. It's been a long day. I'm probably gonna go eat dinner now. Yeah. Again, have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for watching. Peace.